Oh, Wilf.
It's nice to have him back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the end of the episode this time. I feel like that's like, as it was the end of the episode, it's like the main thing on our minds.
Yeah, Wilf's here to save the day. Oh, wait. To tell us that the world's ending. Oh, no.
I thought it was going to be vampire. I was like really hopeful. It was like vampires and ghosts just everywhere.
It's ghost vampires.
Oh my god.
Doctor. There's vampires everywhere. Watch out for all those vampires. Oh, they didn't. Oh, I just realized. Okay, so this episode starts off with just like the really obscure thing, right? So it starts off with the like 1966 or 1666, sorry, England.
England?
They like
Germany? Somewhere else? I don't know where he...
Sorry, yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, German. Sorry, yeah. Oh, wait, no, it's England. England, 1666. You land on Sir Isaac Newton's tree.
What's he doing in England? Study there? I guess the whole tree thing is actually just a myth, so I guess pinch of salt.
Yeah, he's like, an apple falls on his head, and then a million apples fall on his head because the TARDIS has crash landed, and then they do like a joke where they say like, they basically give him the word gravity, but he completely mishears it, and he's like, oh, what was that word? Avity, bavity, savity, mavity. And so they're basically like the whole premise of the word gravity has changed, and Donna now thinks it's the word mavity. As though through the whole episode, the Doctor's like,
they're both saying mavity.
Well, like the Doctor knows that it's actually gravity, and he's just playing along.
Wait, what? But then why does what?
What? Because later, the first time he
says
mavity. Donna says mavity, and then he says mavity,
yeah,
and then later on in the episode he says gravity,
right?
And Donna says, "What's that?" And then he says, "Oh, sorry, mavity." So he knows that it's supposed to be gravity, but he's just playing along. So he knows that they fucked up the timeline, and he's just playing along. But they never, apart from just that joke in the episode, this never comes up again for the rest of the episode.
That's like, what I was thinking.
They never go back at the end of the episode and clean this up. It just never comes back. And I only just remembered just now. Like, we're recording this straight after the end of the episode, and I've only just remembered. I've just gone, hang on a second, they never tied that up, apart from it being like this sort of running joke through the episode. It never got tidied up. So the Mavity thing is still going, and the timeline is still fucked, and everybody thinks gravity is called Mavity, except from the Doctor.
But why does the Doctor remember and Donna doesn't?
Because the Doctor is the Doctor, and he can remember this shit. I feel like Donna should remember because she was there and she's had all that like TARDIS energy. I feel like other people who've been within these situations and have like this sort of out of place timey-wimey energy have remembered these out of time events and haven't been affected by them. And it's weird that Donna has been. I feel like they should go to the future and everybody else should be going mavity, 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 and Donna should be like, don't you mean gravity? But apart from that like them using it as for a joke in this episode, it just doesn't come up. Like they don't fix it at the end. So unless it's gonna tie into the next episode, it's very random. No, it was cute, but it was very random.
This was a fun one.
It was very scary.
It was.
It got very goofy, and then it started very scary, then it got very goofy, and then it got very scary again.
Did it get scary again?
Yeah. It got goofy, and then it went back to being scary again.
What about the end parts were scary?
Oh no, it went. No, it like got back to being scary in the middle.
Okay, what about the middle parts were scary?
Well, if we go through the episode, I can like, I think we should like discuss the episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I don't think we're gonna be as like high energy and everything as last week, because last week was big trans energy.
Well, there's less to say about this one.
Yeah, this episode was just like it was like a classic Doctor Who episode. I think this was like you come into this and you're like, you've sat down and you think, what if somebody spilled coffee on the TARDIS and we ended up at the edge of the known universe?
Yeah, and it's a lot more because it's meant to be a lot scarier. A lot of it. There's a lot less time on like dialogue or like covering things or like things that a lot more of it is just like, and this scene it like the camera lingers for quite a long time on these different shots and the atmosphere and the ambience is very like quite scary and the music's kind of like it's all when you're doing like a horror theme there's less to talk about simply because we're like, and that bit was super scary because of these parts of like how they filmed it, and there's less of like
it was very
here's a 14-page spoken essay from me about how the elements of this scene being scary translate to very trans positive message from these three episodes.
Yeah, there was just it was just classic sort of Doctor Who, but high budget. God, the budget has shot up so hard in these three. But then it's only 3 episodes as opposed to the normal sort of... How many episodes is a normal Doctor Who season? God, I don't even remember.
10, 12?
10, 12, maybe more. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. They're just like, they're very tight. So
I didn't get the TARDIS war song.
No, that was very random. The TARDIS was playing, whatever song it was. Some war song.
It was not explained, and it was a little bit. Maybe it's something for later. It's probably like
it was. Yeah, it was
later.
Singing, yeah, it was like playing a war song, and then there was like a little sort of dialogue about them.
It was playing Wide Blue Yonder.
Yeah, the White Blue Yonder. Oh, it was like, oh yeah, because it was the name of the episode, Wild Blue Yonder. And it was like, oh yeah, we used to sing this in the choir, and then that sort of came up in the episode where they were discussing that and the name of Donna's choir teacher, and that sort of tied in throughout the episode and came up again at the end of the episode, very awkwardly.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think
it was a bit of a weird one.
I don't think it was for this episode. I think it's for later.
Yes.
I think this is a bad wolf moment.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there's only one more episode of this mini thing, and then the Christmas.
There's also a Christmas. Oh my god, we're gonna be busy.
There's these 2 episodes and then a Christmas special. And I don't know if you've watched the teaser after the end of this episode, but I think these 3 episodes are going to be their own little tied-in thing, and the Christmas episode is going to be a little special one-off.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
I watched the teaser and it just looked like things for the next episode, and
yeah. But it seems like I feel like the next episode's gonna kind of be a one and wrapped up thing. I don't think the Christmas episode's gonna
tell ya.
That's what I feel like.
All I know is they've been very, very scarce with Ncuti, and who knows? I imagine Christmas time will be Ncuti finally getting to be the Doctor. And this is all just like...
I feel like Ncuti's episode is going to be like the Christmas episode, him being the Doctor and having an episode of Special Fun Times.
Special Fun Times.
Special Fun Times.
It's going to be on Christmas Day. It's going to be... He's going to go back to London in 1666. He's going to do the Great Fire.
Wait a second.
Going to track down Isaac Newton. Einstein, whichever one it was. I think it's Isaac Newton.
Sir Einstein Newton.
Sir Einstein Newton.
The combo of the two.
And he's gonna kiss him on the lips. Shout out to right after they met him, Donna and the doctor were like, "Oh, he's so hot." And the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, he really was. Oh, is that who I am now?" She's the Donna's immediately like, "Well, it was always on the surface, really." It's like waiting to come out, you know, just like, okay, confirmed bisexual NB doctor, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. I love that they've just been so unapologetic with just like
It's great.
yeah. I think everybody was just because there's just been like this whole sort of thing with a lot of people who were like, oh yes, good, now that RTD is back, the doctor's gonna go back to being back to being for me or whatever, and not have women as the doctor anymore and all of like this fucking bullshit. And then like he's like come back in and gone, yeah, it's not for you.
Come back in and the doctor is just pole dancing.
The doctor's, canonically you're sort of this non-binary, like pansexual, just sort of badass character. So, that's how they've always been. And now we're
Tennant's
just gonna unapologetically say it, so go fuck yourselves.
He's got really bisexual energy. Like he really just enervates raging bisexual energy.
Yeah.
And when I look at it now, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this it really was a very like this is the face of a man who would piss a lot of people. Everyone possible within reason.
Everyone.
Should we talk about the episode?
So, after they meet Sir Isaac Newton, the TARDIS, it does a little teleport. Basically, Donna spilt some coffee on it, and it's pissed, and it spits him out on this spaceship in the middle of the end of the universe, and then the Doctor puts his sonic screwdriver in it to fix it.
The edge of the universe.
The edge of the universe.
Not the end of the universe.
The edge of the universe. And the Doctor puts his screwdriver in the keyhole to fix it, and then the TARDIS fucks off because it detects some danger and reactivates its emergency protocols whilst it's fixing itself, and it fucks off because it detects some danger and it leaves them on this spaceship.
Favorite kind of episode when they lose the TARDIS.
Yeah,
it's always a good.
That's
one.
What makes this episode really scary, though.
Oh,
because the Doctor's not got the TARDIS, and he's not got the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the safety nets if you want it to be scary.
Yeah. He's got nothing, so then this language like plays over their spaceship, and they're like, why can't we understand it? And the Doctor's like, well, the TARDIS normally translates things, and Donna's like, yeah, but that's normally for me. Why can't you understand it? Don't you understand like every language or whatever? And the Doctor's like, well, I understand like 50 billion 460 million languages or whatever, but not this one. Just like, and it's like, oh, we're fucked. And I'm like, yeah, this episode. Well, shit's fucked.
I think it's scary to me, at least, because they really lean into the terror of space and like huge. This episode features a lot of enormous empty space, and like darkness, and like the way that it's like repeating
white
nothingness
space as well.
Yeah. Like because they see the edge of space, and there's just nothing, like the space where light hasn't reached them yet. And like even the inside of the colony ship is like just the same repeating pattern. Colony ship.
Yeah, I
looked at it and my brain said colony ship, and now I think it's a colony ship.
Yeah. Well, it's because the like one bit of the ship that you feel kind of safe in is the giant white corridor, because it's just really long and light.
That doesn't feel safe.
No, but it feels safer because you can see down it.
No, that's worse.
It's this giant white long corridor because you can see. Because everywhere else on the ship that they go in is really dark and the lights keep flicking and it's really tight spaces. And it's scary. Whereas when they're in this giant white long corridor, I was like, thank God.
I mean, the tight spaces to me, the safest place in my head was the near the captain's, what do they call it? The helm.
The bridge.
The bridge where they fly the ship. I was like, oh, thank God they're in the bridge. It's, it's like, oh, there's a bunch of different rooms with different purposes, and it's not the same thing over and over and again forever, which is what the main corridor was just, here's a corridor that's just the same repeating thing over and over and again, almost forever. There's somehow an ending to it. And outside is just the same thing, but in a different flavor. And it's just, I did not like that. And then, like, the small confined spaces are like, oh no, I don't know where they're gonna go, but also, at least they could hide in the, at least there were walls around them and not just...
Oh, but it was so dark and the lights kept turning off and there was just noise and they were being chased, but we'll get to that bit. Oh, it's scary. It was scary. It scared me so much. I didn't like it. It was too creepy. I call it claustrophobia as well. I don't like it at all. Yeah. I like my big white corridor. So they end up on this spaceship, and they're in this big white corridor, and they basically the TARDIS fucks off, so they're like, guess we gotta explore. And they find a little robot friend, and the little robot friend is really slowly walking forward, and it doesn't respond to them at all.
For a solid 10 minutes, the robot friend is just a shadow in the distance.
Yes, it's so good.
It's so far away, and the
corridor is infinitely
I thought it might have
been like a corpse or something.
It's terrifying.
You can't see what it is at all, and they're just walking down this long, just same corridor, and all you can see is just this black speck of something in the distance. And I was thinking, I bet it's just a corpse, because it's just like there's nothing on the ship at all. And I'm like, and it was like these shots. They were doing these shots from like a vent, like you were looking at them through a vent. And I was thinking something's killed the one person on this ship, and they're just gonna get there, and it's just gonna be a corpse.
I thought it was Donna and the Doctor. Like I thought they had somehow gone like inside the TARDIS, and it was Donna and the Doctor, and Shooty was in the walls.
Oh my God.
He's gonna pop out at some point.
Hey, like that. And he finally, because they end up like finding a little cart that pops out of the ground, and they drive that down this corridor, and they meet this little robot. And it doesn't respond to them, and it's just really slowly walking down this corridor. And then there's this sort of voice that comes over the speaker. And the Doctor doesn't understand it. And then they drive down the ship, they get to the bridge, and then they start fucking around inside the ship. And they split apart to do like separate things. The Doctor's like, oh, Donna, you start taking apart this piece in this side, and I'll go over to this other section. And
they split up.
Yeah.
Doctor fiddles, goes in the other room, fiddles with a little thing. We cut back to Donna, who's moving some squares from one shelf to another shelf. Doctor walks back in, he's done fiddling. They have a little chat about Gallifrey. We cut back to the Doctor.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, and it's very sweet. And then we cut back to the Doctor in the other room, who's still fiddling with the valves. And Donna walks in.
Yeah.
And you're immediately like, oh no.
Well, you're like, well, that's weird. That they're in the other room having a conversation. So how's the Doctor now in this room having a conversation with Donna? That's
what's going
on.
Kind of
weird.
I hate this.
It's kind of odd.
Also, they have a disc. They go to the front of before this. Sorry, I think it's super important for the scary part of this episode, which is the way they go to the front of the ship, and the Doctor just leans on the glass that separates the bridge from the outside void of space. Oh
yes, that was so horrible. He's like going, I've never been this close to the edge of the universe, the void before, and he leans on the thinnest pane of glass that is like between the bridge of the ship and the nothingness of space.
As I watched that, I could literally feel myself having an existential crisis.
I know, I was cringing so hard.
Like, I can't do this right now.
I was like, please, Doctor, please, just get back, please.
But then, he slides off and it calms down, and they go and do these room things. And Donna walks in to speak to the Doctor, and the Doctor's speaks to Donna, and
but they're both in these other rooms.
Yeah,
but they're both
just
walked in as if they just finished. But they can't have both just finished because they're both still in the rooms.
Yeah, we've got Donna who's doing a task speaking to the Doctor who's just walked in, and we've got the Doctor who's doing a task speaking to Donna who's just walked in, and it's like, oh god, what's happening?
Yeah,
and it's really scary.
But they're both having a conversation, and it's a really sweet and nice conversation.
Kind of. It's
at first,
but when they do the reveal that it's not real, it's
very creepy.
Yeah, it's really creepy because they're asking questions to like learn about them or something. Because it's like, why are they asking? And what I noticed is both of them were asking questions, and I was like, okay, these two people that aren't the Doctor and aren't Donna have walked in and are asking questions, and these are like probing questions, and I don't like this at all.
Yeah, it like starts off being like, oh, it's like, oh, they're just asking nice questions because they've not seen each other in a while, and they just want to know how the other person's doing, and then it's just like, oh no, this isn't nice questions, this is very probing personal questions, and then they're like, then the fake imposters go, my arms are too long.
And immediately, when that happens,
and you're like, that's so fucking weird.
I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they've done an episode where the villain is AI. The villain is AI, and my arms are too long.
Something weird is happening with the ship as well, so it would have made a lot of sense.
Okay, but my arms are too long.
Signs.
They've copied them.
True.
And the first thing that's gone wrong, once they've had a long enough conversation, the AI has suddenly said something that's kind of off color and doesn't make sense within the context of the entire conversation they've had, which is a classic AI fuck up. And it says, my arms are too long, which is a reference to the fact that AI still can't do hands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I immediately, I'm gone from like, this is terrifying to this is fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
This is
and
great.
It made sense with like the weird shit, because it was like the ship was playing this sound over the speaker, and it was also, whilst it was doing that, the walls were like weirdly rearranging as well, which we didn't sort of mention.
I just thought it was the funniest thing that they could have done.
But it wasn't that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, that's something else that we'll figure out.
Yeah.
But what's happening right now with these monsters is they're just AI art. Or like AI in general.
I didn't even think about that. I was just like, oh my gosh, shape-changing amuguses.
I got it immediately, and I also apparently just wrote almost no notes from that point onwards. As soon as I write that it's AI art, the next thing is like 10 scenes later. So I have like 3 lines of notes for the rest of the episode. It's literally all just spooky, like them being scared, trying to figure it out, running around. But it's just, I was just very entertained because it was very funny to me the way it was just like. And now we watch as the AI fails to understand arms and thing, and then they talk about like being hungry, and the Doctor's like, or the fake AI Doctor is like, oh, that's right, we get hungry. And I'm like, yes, because that's a piece of context that it would not have remembered. And it's just so, like, the way they act is so almost, it's just, like, the same. It's the same as if you had fed the Doctor, like, the information on the Doctor and explained humans to, because they're also, like, they don't understand temperature. And Donna's like, I think there's a certain point where Donna's like, okay, so they have our memories. They like they can pretend to be us, but they don't actually understand the concepts. And I'm like, this is just generative AI. You know, this is Doctor Who's just taking pot shots.
I didn't even realize. I didn't clock this at all. It's just like a sort of AI, an AI reference. The whole episode. Holy shit!
Absolutely hilarious.
I was just like shape-changing Amoguses.
Because I mean, for the rest of the episode, I basically just spent it being like, okay, so how does the AI mess up this time? And there is a thing Donna does later on that I'm like, yep, that's another classic mistake an AI would make. That might, depending on how old the AI is, because this would have been made a while ago, and it's advanced, air quotes, since then. But it's still like, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about like our sort of level of quote unquote AI, which isn't AI.
It's not AI. It's kind of just. Well, it's not like it's
learning.
not true AI or whatever You know, it's just another more complicated level of copying algorithms and recommendation algorithms, as far as I'm aware. It's not like true understanding. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend to understand it.
I always hate that AI. I always think nothing's really and it should be classified as an AI until it's like actually like a sort of like Jarvis commander data level intelligence. That's my opinion. Until it's like a sort of like fully thinking being, then it shouldn't.
Do you want to talk about AI? We can talk about.
No, I just wanted to sort of pivot onto that. I hate that these fucking little chat GPT things are called an AI. I hate that. Anyway, this is where I think it starts getting like it starts off. It's kind of spooky because it's like, oh my gosh, there's some Among Uses. They're like faking imposter them. But this is where it starts getting a little goofy because they're like, oh, my arms are too big, and it's like the Doctor and Donna played by David Tennant and Catherine Tate, like, but
they're monsters.
Like, but they're like got really like blown up body parts. So I'm like, this is where it starts getting a little goofy.
It's great.
It's
they have enormous hands.
Yeah, they got like massive hands.
And then they fix their hands, and then the Doctor's jaw breaks, and he fixes his door, and Donna's knees are wrong.
Yeah, and so it's like all weird.
And I think the way they talk to each other as well, it does sound like two AIs talking to each other, because one of them is like, knees. How many knees do I have? And there's like two knees. And the first one's like, but is that 2 knees on each leg or 2 knees in total? And it's just honestly, that is kind of reminiscent of how an AI might talk to itself in this really like weird, inorganic, janky way.
Well, I think it's the next scene that I think was like super like. I feel like this is kind of like what we always talk about when we're watching Doctor Who of like the what if this thing happened sort of classic,
right?
But it's like the Doctor and Donna start running away. They go back to their little car and they drive down a corridor, and the two Among Uses chase after them. But because they can sort of shape change, they just start chasing after them, and they grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger down this absolutely gigantic corridor, and are just like this sort of like King Kong size, but like,
and they're
absolutely,
they have the wrong
like,
proportions.
Their proportions are completely like whack, like AI jank.
It's and again, I was like, oh, it's doing a human, but the human is wrong. It's like, oh, it's got eyes.
It is like they have. I mean, I don't think they would have done it at all, but it is like somebody's typed into a thing like AI Doctor and Donna chase car down corridor.
It literally is. It's really funny.
Like massive, and it's generated it, and it's like so jank, and the proportions are completely out of whack. And like there's like a giant eyes and gigantic massive hands and stuff.
And the
like
fake doctor grabs the little buggy they're on, and Donna has to hit it with a shovel.
Yeah, hit the gigantic massive hand that's like as big as the car with a shovel.
Yeah. And they eventually
grow,
grow.
and then they eventually just become this great big like sort of blob.
Yeah, they eventually grow too big that they can't actually chase. They get stuck in the corridor, and they're just like stuck there, and they're just like a clusterfuck of limbs and eyes and faces that you can see the face in there and stuff. And God, I hate that I'm doing this again now at this point.
I know,
it's like old school AI when the AI made like weird, funky dream images. And before it started making images that actually made sense, and it's like if you had fed it the doctor and that's what that looked. That like clusterfuck of limbs was reminiscent of.
Yeah, it's. This is where I think it started getting like really goofy.
Not when they grew giant and out of proportion and were chasing the little golf cart.
That's where it. No, that's that whole bit is where I got really goofy. So I was like, okay, it's got really scary. Like they're on. It's like the whole thing is this, like, you know, the Doctor and Donna are on a spaceship. It's all really scary. It was really tense. They've like got no resources. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand the thing. And then suddenly there's like some imposter among us and like everything. And then suddenly, now they're being chased by this thing, and it's all like all out of proportions and out of whack. And they're being chased by this giant mega hand among us. Like, goofy thing, and they've got smushed and stuck in the corridor, and I was like, okay, this is very goofy. And then it gets back to being scary again, because they now that they're stuck, they go to escape, and they're like, oh, we're gonna climb a ladder, and they go and they get split up, classically in spooky time fashion.
This is where it gets fun. This is the fun part to me.
Yeah, but it gets split up and it gets stuck in these tiny little dark corridors, and then the Among Us start chasing after them again.
And it's like scary because it's like, oh no, what if they get got? But you know that they're not gonna get got.
Yeah, but they might do.
No, they're not
because
gonna get
it's
got.
Scary.
Is our average viewer under the age of 12?
Apparently I am, because I was terrified the entire time.
Okay, fair enough. This is the bit where Viztee gets scared, and I'm like,
I'm
fun.
incredibly emotionally invested in every TV show I watch.
This is good stuff.
Everything makes me cry. Everything gets me terrified. So
high quality media production.
Yeah, everything I watch, I just get incredibly invested in. So I was just like,
if somebody dies in a really sad way, I will cry. But if one of them got by the freaky AI or proportion like Frankenstein monsters, I would have laughed. I would have just been like, this is hilarious and ridiculous.
Well, look, yeah, immediately Donna's like in this really dark corridor, and the lights start going out, and there's some really freaky noises, and I'm freaking out.
I didn't like that, but that was more of a jump scare.
I was freaking out, and then the door shut on her, and I was shitting my pants. It was like being 12 again. I was like, I'm gonna go and hide behind the sofa. I was like, I hate this. And then they classically, you know, they both the Doctor. I love this part. So that they, you know, we see the Doctor go into a room, and Donna comes in the same room, and then we see Donna go in a room, and the Doctor comes in the same room, and we're like, uh-oh.
Here we go.
Here we go again. So we don't know if they're in a room with the Among Uses.
This was great because I lost track of which Donna went in which room first, like which one went in which room first, and what. I was just like, okay, we have two rooms, and that's all I know anymore.
The way they shot it was just like, you don't know, you have no idea who is who at all.
Yeah, it's great.
So it was just like really, really cool trying to figure out who was actually who, because the Among Uses have like a lot of their memories.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you really can't tell who's who.
Like, they have all of their memories and their personalities, but they, like, lack a bunch of concepts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, obviously, like, they have a long enough conversation and the Among Us is revealed. But I was also like, oh, you have a long enough conversation with an AI and it starts fucking up, and that's kind of what happens.
Oh my, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, go on.
No, I was gonna say, what I really loved about this is it, because what I was kind of worried about these episodes was after the last episode there was sort of the Doctor Who confidential thing where David Tennant was saying he kind of like, oh, I fell right back into the swing of playing the Doctor again, and and it was like, and they were like, oh, but you're supposed to be like a different Doctor because you've been through all of these past things, and he was like, oh yeah, but then previously he had also said that he had watched through like all of the old, he had watched through all of the Doctor Who's between his run and coming back to sort of know all the things the Doctor had been through. So then we come into this like episode, and he actually gets sort of confronted with this fake Donna in this scene, who's like, oh yeah, I remember everything. I've like seen when I was the Dr. Donna in the last episode. I saw everything that you went through in the last, like, since we were apart, and I saw what happened in like basically the last season of Doctor Who in the Flux, where like half the universe was wiped out, and it was like wiped out, and it wasn't like your fault, Doctor, but it was, wiped out because of, it wasn't wiped out because of you, but it was wiped out like, it was because of the Doctor, but it wasn't like the Doctor's fault, if that makes sense. And it like, but the Doctor holds all this guilt, and the Doctor's like, you're just saying this to wear me down, and then but like this fake Donna's like, like sort of saying all this thing and sort of saying like, it's not your fault and everything, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so good. And the Doctor's like feeling all of this, and it's watching it all unravel on David Tennant's face and everything. It was so good, and I was like feeling all the feels, and it was great, and I was like, oh my god. And then obviously like the Among Us does accidentally reveal
and Donna
himself.
fucking melts.
Yeah, melts, because they actually like, he does believe that it is actually Donna, and he does start going like, oh my god, Donna, and he does start like breaking down, and like the Doctor starts feeling sad and going toward Donna, like,
God, it's rough.
Having this emotion. It is rough, but then like the Among Us can't hold their shape, so they like, and then the Doctor like has this breakdown afterward after he escapes, and I was like, holy shit, this is like so fucking good. This is so like, this is the meat that I need. I need this as a Doctor Who. I did love the like the good parts, the good solid writing parts of the thing of the last seasons, like the bits that were there, the meat of the last seasons that were there. I know there was a lot of rough patches, but the solid parts of the last seasons, this is the meat that I need, coming back and sort of referencing all of the stuff that the Doctor's been through. I need that sort of stuff. All that sort of emotional trauma and emotional like thing, and these sort of character moments. That's what I live for in shows. So, seeing that sort of stuff, oh, give me more. Give me more.
Haven't seen Capaldi or Whittaker.
Yeah, but you got to appreciate that sort of.
I appreciate the acting.
Moment.
It was good. Yeah, I was like, this is. I was like, okay, they are actually going to talk about this, and this is cool, and he does it well, and I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck they're talking about, but yeah, he's got some angst to work through.
Yeah,
a lot of
basically just like, since he was previously himself. A lot of fucking shit's happened. That's basically all you need to know. And there's
Yeah. And he has a little Donna melts, and he runs off, and he has a little meltdown about it.
Yeah.
Just a little cheeky breakdown for like 20 seconds.
And then he recomposes himself.
Yeah. And then over in Donna, the Amogus Doctor takes off his tie, and Donna basically just
talks him to death.
Yeah, she basically she distracts him with enough. Both of these, I think, are a case of like AI can't keep track of enough. It's too much context for them to keep track of, where it just melts the fake Donna because she can't keep up with all of the doctor's shit. And then the fake doctor is like, "Ooh, I'll take off my tie and put it on the floor." And that way you'll know it's not me if you see a doctor with a tie. Donna's like, "Okay, yeah."
So,
and then
surely the Among Us can't remove a piece of clothing and leave it on the floor.
Yeah. And Donna does like a fucking 20 lines of ranting. And then she's like, "Where's your tie gone?" And the tie has dematerialized because the AI forgot about it.
Yeah. That's so good.
Very enjoyable.
Oh.
And then they run away again. And they all meet up again, all four of them. The same room. And honestly, I couldn't keep track of this conversation. The conversation that happened with all four of them was an absolute clusterfuck, and I could not tell you.
Odd.
Because I didn't know who was who, and it was all just.
I was very odd them like trying to figure out. I feel like I need to kind of rewatch it because it was very weird. I think they said like. It was like something like, oh, you know. I honestly don't know. It was something about the Donna like trust. You know, saying she was stupid, but knowing she wasn't stupid.
Oh, it was
because she also knows that she's also clever because humans can think two things at once, and that was them coming to realize that the things, although they have their memories, can like understand two like concepts at the same time. And that was them like figuring out that these things that the Among Us like aren't really like have their memories but don't really understand the concepts.
I feel like that was a pointing out of how humans are flawed in the way that like you can think of yourself as amazing and stupid at the same. Like you can beat yourself up really bad for being bad at tennis, and you can also think that you're really good at tennis at the same time.
Like me playing League of Legends.
Yeah, like you. Exactly. And I think like the point I'd argue there is that the AI monsters aren't like if they think perfectly and they like have all this information and they can think perfectly, then they're going to be able to like they're not going to be able to, you know, depending on what time of day you ask them a question, they'll give you the same answer. Ask a human, depending on what time of day it is, completely different answer for the same question. And I think that's like kind of the idea of what they were explaining there, at least to me. The whole like, wow, humans contain so many multitudes and so many different personalities in one person, and turning that into like trying to copy that is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think it was just a really confusing conversation without subtitles on.
I had subtitles on, and I couldn't keep track of it. I didn't. Yeah. I think if you don't know which one is which, it is impossible. I thought at the end when the Doctor and Donna like hug each other and they're like, "Oh, it's you." I thought the other Donna had hugged him. And I was like, with all the camera like shot changes as well, I was just so like, I don't know who is who, or like, you know, a doctor would say something and then the camera would move and I'd be like, I don't know which doctor said that anymore.
Yeah. It was confusing. Anyway, then they're like, aha, you can't cross this line here. And he pulls like some salt on the floor. He's like, because there's a line of salt and you can't cross the line of salt. And as you counted all of the particles of salt, because monsters and demons and things can't cross them. That's the rules.
And then like
that's a superstition.
Well, it's a superstition, but it's also true. The superstition itself is a true superstition and not like a made up one. And because they are monsters, it works.
yeah, and they're like, but that's bullshit. And they're like, see, Donna thinks it's bullshit. And they're like, but do you want to test that? And they're like, So then one of them starts counting it while they have a conversation.
The best part of this episode is watching
Fake Donna.
watching the fake monsters and being like, okay, so David Tennant and what's her face? I've forgotten her name already.
Catherine Tate.
And Catherine Tate. This is them playing the fake and just like imagining what it would have been like to be on set to watch those two just like baring teeth and like crawling around. And when when Donna meets the fake doctor and like does the tie thing at the end of that conversation, fucking the doctor falls back on his arms, does a does a bridge, his head loops out through his legs, and he literally fucking chases Donna out of the room on all fours while doing a bridge, and I'm just like, this is the height of comedy. Like, it's just so it
was such a goofy and yet scary episode.
And in my head, I'm like, okay, so David Tennant was like in a green morph suit or something, and they green screened his head onto his body, which they also CG. I'm just like, this is just hilarious. It's just so funny to me that they did this.
Oh god. I can't remember how the rest of their conversation went. But then they escape. They realize that the salt trap doesn't work, and they run away, and they run back to the bridge of the ship, and they realize that the Among Uses are trying to scare them because scaring them means they can turn into them quicker, and if they can turn into them, the TARDIS will think that it's safe because there'll be no monsters around anymore. And the TARDIS will come back. But then they realize also. So then the Doctor and Donna are like, oh, we've got to stop being scared then. So they try and calm down.
You gotta think less.
They gotta think less. But also that's just a stupid plan because eventually they'll just turn into them anyway because they've got nowhere to. They've trapped inside the bridge of the ship and they've got nowhere to go. But also, there's a mystery to solve. The Doctor loves mysteries. Like, why is there, what happened to the person who was previously on the ship? Why is there a banging sound? What's the weird, like, sort of, voice that's going over the speaker? What's the really, really slow robot walking toward? There's so many questions. And so the Doctor starts, Among Us are goading the Doctor into solving the mystery because they don't know the answer for some reason. And so that's another question. Why don't they know the answer? And so the Doctor's just like, damn it! And so he starts puzzling and solving the puzzle. And he realizes that the previous owner of the ship killed themselves to prevent the Among Us from escaping with the spaceship and wreaking havoc on the universe. And the previous owner of the ship set the ship on a really, 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 really slow self-destruct by having the robot really slowly walk toward the self-destruct button. So slowly that the Among Uses didn't realize that was what it was doing.
Because they couldn't understand things that thought slowly.
Yeah.
So I really like that idea because, again, going back to the AI thing, it's when the whole thing that's happening with AI now is that they're self-cannibalizing themselves into uselessness, where it's like people have found out ways to... They were good when you fed them a shitload of human data that, like, hey, look at all this work that humans have done, and if we feed that to an AI, it can copy them. And then it ran out of data to copy, and it started copying itself, and it's kind of reverting back to that absolute sort of dream-like nonsense that it used to put out, and has been putting out that again, which kind of explains how these monsters thought, because they couldn't make a perfect copy of the captain in time, and so they started like self-cannibalizing again, And with the really slow thing, it's like, okay, they only get information every so often, and between those like cycles of information or points of information where things change that they can observe, they just self-cannibalize themselves back into nonsense again, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Was that too complicated an explanation?
No, I think that was perfect. I think that was perfect. I think it's a really good way of like sort of tricking the baddies as blowing up the ship.
Apart from the part where they had to commit suicide, which was like,
well, yeah, that was obviously not great.
Not great out for Doctor and
it's the only way. And it's obviously the Doctor and the Donna are like, well, shit, because there's no way for them to get out. Except I realized immediately that all they need to do is slow down the baddies enough. As soon as they've all figured this out, basically, the only thing they can do is the ship is about to explode. There's the countdown. It's got about 5 seconds, but there's the 5 really slowed down seconds. And now that they've all figured this out, the baddies are trying to stop the robot. So the Doctor speeds it up, speeds up the countdown to not really 5 seconds. It's about, like 2 minutes or something. So they all start running down this really, really long corridor. But I realized as soon as they started doing this, all they need to do really is stall it out so that it's about to explode. And then the TARDIS will re-emerge because it was sensing danger. And the TARDIS, all they need to do is, as soon as it's about to explode, the TARDIS will reappear and then they just need to get into it and escape. And of course, that's what actually does happen. The Doctor gets on the TARDIS and he's got to pick between the Donna and the Donna. And he picks the wrong one. And it's really emotional. And he's like, and Donna's like, you picked the wrong one. And the explosions flying toward her. And you're like, oh my god, Donna's going to actually die. And there's all the music swelling. And you're like, and it's actually genuinely really sad. Because you're like, oh my fucking god, Donna's going to actually die.
It's
in the
actually genuinely
way. I was
so sad.
Holy fucking shit. Because last week I was like, oh my fucking god, they're gonna kill off Donna. And then this week I was like, oh my fucking god, they're actually gonna kill off Donna in the stupidest way possible. And I was crying. And then the Doctor realizes and he throws out the other Donna and saves Donna. And I was like, oh, thank god.
I do wish the way they solved it was more interesting than, oh, your arms were too long.
But that's classic sort of 10 Doctor Who.
I wish they'd had 6 fingers. That would have been hilarious. Oh yeah, I looked down. You had 6 fingers. It's crazy. Funny that.
That 2 on the nose.
Would have been perfect.
Oh dear. And then they go back to Earth, like a day or 2 out, apparently, from when they left. And Wilf is there. It's Wilf.
It's Wilf. It's really sweet.
Wilf's there.
Get to see him again.
Really nice.
It's just so nice.
It's really, really nice. It made me cry a lot.
He looked a little bit CGI'd to me for some reason. I don't know why.
No, it's actually him because he filmed the scenes.
It's great. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And it was fucking old when he did this.
Yeah.
Like 94, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he's basically like, "Oh, I knew you'd come and save us. I told all the family to hunker down."
This is just set up for the next episode.
For the next episode. And I'm like, what? What's going on? And shit's apparently going real bad.
Everyone's gone mad.
Everybody's gone mad.
Oh no!
And that's next episode. That's it. Doctor Who. Honestly, I think the episode was great. I really liked it. It's just classic Doctor Who. There wasn't a lot of there wasn't a lot of like time for. There was some great emotional moments, but I think a lot of it was just really. It was like a lot of. It was very scary. Just really scary.
It was just a classic
but
scary
at
Doctor
the middle,
Who episode.
In the middle, it was really goofy. For most of it, it was just really scary.
Pretty much just a big old classic Doctor Who episode that is also topical, much like lots of other Doctor Who stuff.
I didn't get the AI thing at all, but now that you've pointed it out, I'm blown away.
It's enormous fucking everything about it. It was so good. As soon as they said my arms are too long, I was like, let's fucking go. Let's do this.
I didn't even realize.
Oh, it was so much fun.
And now I'm completely like, holy shit. Also, I think I figured out the Wild Blue Yonder thing, by the way.
Okay.
Because a Wild Blue Yonder, it obviously, I say obviously, the sort of thing of it is,
it's the song that they'd sing in the Navy, I think, before they go off to war.
It also means, on a journey to a faraway place which is unfamiliar or mysterious.
But why was the TARDIS singing it?
Because it was on a journey to a far off and unfamiliar, mysterious place, the edge of the universe.
It's a war song.
Well, it was
and
off
the TARDIS singing a war
uh,
song seems a bit weird.
Funny and unfamiliar place. Also,
I think this is an unresolved thing.
It might be.
Anyway, very fun episode. Again, there was another funny moment where Donna was like, I was thinking about how long my family would wait there in that alley. My husband would probably come back every day. It's so lovable, and Wilf too, be sitting there. And I was like, oh, that alley, Donna? You mean the middle of Camden Market in front of the Cyberdog, the sex shop?
The sex shop.
Where
they'll be there every day. Perusing the sex toys,
where like
and then
thousands of people walk through every day.
Yeah.
That sad little alley that's very busy all the time.
The sad alley.
That one, the Camden Market alley, near the entrance.
Yeah. Really sad.
I bet they do go there and wait. I bet they've got a yearly travel card.
It'd be really sad every day.
Wilf spends his pension on a year's worth of travel card, or whatever it's called, an annual travel card, so he can use the tube every single day and sit in that spot waiting for them.
Oh. Gosh. What an episode.
It was fun. It was a fun classic episode. I don't know. It's nice to watch some classic style. Here's a topical thing. It's scary today. And there's a mystery and there's some monsters and it's fun. It's just very classic Doctor Who. I have honestly not that much to say about it. Great. Yeah, it's good fun.
I think we've covered it pretty good. I'm excited for next week. I think next week's going to be an absolute banger. We've got the Toy Maker. It's gonna be spicy. Hopefully we'll get some more of Rose.
Yeah, I would like to see more Rose, but maybe not. If they're not here at the end of this episode, maybe no more of them. Sad face. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll be back next week for more Doctor Who.
So much view screen. What is going on?
So much very tasty view screen. Nom, 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 nom.
Delicious.
Nom, nom, nom. Tasty.
Whoa.
Just like that TARDIS cookie I had for lunch.
You had a TARDIS cookie for lunch?
No.
Oh.
I wish I did now.
I wish I had some TARDIS pancakes.
Yeah?
Yeah, just pancakes made inside a blue box. Just normal pancakes. I wish I had some pancakes.